Why, hello there. It's September 30th. I'm gonna do a wrap-up. If you've watched my vlog, then you've seen some of these books that I've read. Some of them I've already reviewed. I'll just go through them in a different way this time. New video. Why not? God. The first book that I read in September, I actually read the end of August, beginning of September. Finished on the 1st. Raybearer by Jordan Afueco. I love this book. It reinvigorated my love for YA. It was beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Prose was great. Descriptions were lovely. The world I just wanted to get lost in. It's been a long time since I've read about a world that I just wanted to get lost in. And this is one of them. I can't wait for the next book to come out. It's coming out in 2021, and I'm standing for it. I can't wait. This is a beautiful cover. The UK cover is also gorgeous, and I really want a copy of it. I might just use that as an excuse so I can do a reread because it was beautiful and I loved it. Oh, can't stop loving it. In case you don't know what's happening on my bookshelf, these are my favorite books. And so this, let's just pop it on the shelf. Boom. That's where she exists now. That's her place. Don't question it. The next book I read in September was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This one has all 5 of the books in the series. I just read the first book. God, this book. I wanted to love it. I really did. And I just couldn't. I was too distracted. And maybe I learned something about myself in this book. I like the bigger picture. Pretty much. I like to know, like, if there's aliens in this story, tell me why. I want to know about the aliens. If the world is being destroyed in this story, tell me why. I need something else. I need something a little bit more than just bits and pieces of the actual Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Maybe you'll like the other books because they're a little bit more in depth about the world and what's going on, and not just like, this is what the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy says about Earth. So maybe I'll like the other ones, but I can't bring myself to read them, so somebody's gonna have to recommend it to me because I'm not doing it. Not on my own. No. The next couple of books, I'm not sure the order in which I've read them, so I'll just pick them up and go. Rabbit and Robot is actually, this one is by Andrew Smith. Rabbit and Robot. It's glorious. I really love this cover. Anything that I wanted in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that I did not get, I got in Rabbit and Robot. It was great. It was lovely. There was a lot about the world. There was a lot about what was happening. There was a lot about these cogs, because there's humans, and then there's like robot machines, but they're like lifelike. So lifelike human, lifelike elephant, whatever. It's really good. Really good. It's definitely still YA-ish, because our characters are all 16. Quite the romp. And kind of, there was ever so slightly, just a little bit of commentary on what it means to be human. And that kind of tickled my funny bone a little bit. I enjoyed that. Oh God. The next book, 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I still don't think that I am okay with what happened in this book. This book had a wonderful premise and a horrible plot. I can't even with that book anymore. Can't even. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. This one also has Through the Looking Glass, but I didn't read it. I'm probably gonna read it because this was quite delightful. So funny, so cute. It was very dreamlike and very much felt like it. Like, the way the description was happening and the story was unveiling, it was very much as if Alice was telling it herself, even though that's not, like, the viewpoint. Also, I didn't realize that The Disney Alice in Wonderland, the original animated one, I didn't realize that they took bits and pieces from the first Alice and Through the Looking Glass. So it's like every time they did a movie, they couldn't decide what story they wanted to tell. So the first animated Disney, they used bits and pieces of both, and then they did a live action one with Johnny Depp, and it was weird because it wasn't Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and it wasn't Through the Looking Glass, but it was somewhere in between because they also did a Through the Looking Glass. I think you should just read the book because it was much more put together. It was delightful. I really enjoyed it. The next book that I also read was Where'd You Go Bernadette? Oh my god. Love this. Love this. I also did a spoiler talk about this one, so I won't say too much, but man, did I love this book. Man, oh man. Did you ever read just like sad? Like it's just someone's sad life that happened. And it's sad, you know? Like sometimes you watch a movie and it's like, oh, Frida Kahlo. And you're like, ooh, I'm down. But you realize Frida Kahlo just had a sad life. It's kind of what happened here, where I was like, ooh, I'm down. Like, what's going on, Bernadette? And they made it seem like her mental illness was truly taking over and it was just crazy. Like, no. She needed some compassion and empathy and everything would have been fine. But she didn't get that. And so it was just really sad to see someone's life kind of fall apart when they don't have a support system. Sad, good, loved it, enjoyed it, recommend it. God. Read the book, see the movie. I don't know if I'm gonna see the movie. I still haven't decided. I probably won't. This book is also just too sad to be a favorite. Like, I have some sad ones on here. Like, I would argue that Eleanor and Park ends sad, but also it feels complete. And then In the Woods, No One You Know, and The Weight of Silence are kind of just sad books anyway, so you kind of expect that tone to carry. But I don't know. I definitely love her, and she's staying. So the fear is I'm gonna eventually take up this entire shelf full of favorites. And then where am I gonna put my read books for the month? Because I typically have my favorites books here and the books I read in this month here. These are just placeholders. I don't like when my bookshelf is barren because I've taken them down for a video, so I've put more books. Alright, the next two books that I read were retellings. The first one was Lost Boy by Christina Henry, and I was excited to read this because I love Christina Henry and I love her retellings. It was different than the kind of retelling that Alice was, in the sense that she didn't create a whole different new kind of world for the characters to live in. She kept the world, she just expanded on those characters that we knew and kind of made it more creepy and malicious. It was very, it was good. We were having fun. It was very exciting, and I really needed to know what happened because she connected this to the Peter Pan that we know. And so this serves more as a prequel to the Peter Pan movie. So it's so cool. It's really, really cool. Really cool, really unique. If you like retellings, I'd pick it up. If you like retellings and don't like Peter Pan, I'd still pick it up because Peter Pan wasn't my favorite story of all time, but that was still really good. The other retelling I read was The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. Here's this. Okay. I finished this a couple days ago, and I have been reading it for a vlog. I still don't really know how I feel about it. Like, did he do a good job of retelling The Jungle Book? Yes. Was his prose amazing? Yes. Did I enjoy reading it the whole time and loved every word of description and storytelling that came out? Yes. I enjoyed it. I had fun. Did I also have a visceral feeling at the end because of my own abandonment issues? Yes. So, I don't know how to feel about the book, how to rate the book. I loved it. I didn't like the end. It's my own issue there. But, I mean, I think there's something to be said then. If I loved the book and the only thing that bothered me was the end, only because it was so triggering to my own abandonment issues, like, maybe he did an amazing job then. A Tale of Unforgettable Enchantment. I mean, yeah, unique, very unique. There is something to be said about the fact that the Jungle Book takes place, I believe, in the jungle uh, with people of color, and this book takes place in England with white people. So there's something to say there. I did find myself wanting to pinpoint the specific parts of the Jungle Book. I really liked the Jungle Book movie. That's what I saw. It's a real book, I didn't read it. The movie I really enjoyed. So I was finding myself looking for the pieces of the movie that I enjoyed, like the orangutans and the vultures. I'm not sure how much of that was actually translated into this, or because I didn't see it. I couldn't find it. If those pieces were in this book, they weren't easily found. Instead of like telling a prequel or changing the world for the characters, he really just took the premise of like fish out of water, boy born into a place where he doesn't really belong, and rewrote it. So it is what it is. I haven't given it a rating yet. Look out for my vlog for the rating I give it. The next two books that I read are books of poetry. The first book of poetry I read was Masquerade by Cyrus Parker. Okay, let me tell you how cool this was, because I posted a picture of me reading this book on Instagram, and Cyrus Parker was like, "Hey, I hope you like the book." I I feel so seen when authors see me read their book. Like, freaks me out. Um, I really enjoyed this book of poetry. It was quite lovely. Quite lovely. I don't often read male poets, and that has, I don't know if that has something to do with maybe I don't identify with their kind of poetry, maybe I don't find myself in the stories they're telling. I'm not entirely sure, but I saw this book, I loved it. I love it. I loved it. It was a very lovely book of poetry. It was not as emotionally charged as some of the poetry I have read. However, I really enjoyed it. I do recommend it. He has other books of poetry. I'm going to be buying them. So if that's any indication. I also don't rate poetry. I don't give poetry books star ratings. I wouldn't know the criteria to rate them on. I'm no English teacher, so I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just gonna talk about them, so. The next book of poetry I read is called Pillow Thoughts by Courtney Peppernell. I always forget her name. Peppernell. I picked up this book because it has a sweet jellyfish on it. And that's so cute to me. So, this wasn't a bad book of poems. The poems were also not at a level I had expected. There is, maybe they just weren't my kinds of poems. And see, this is where I struggle as well, because how can I say that this is not a good book of poems just because I don't like rhymes? But that's a personal thing. I personally don't like the The strict rhymes where it feels like you're reading Dr. Seuss, I don't like those rhymes. But I can't tell her that her book of poetry was bad, especially when out of the 2 books of poetry I read, this is the book of poetry that had the poem that made me cry. Yeah, this one had a poem that made me straight up cry. And let me see, I dog-eared it. I never dog-ear books, but I do poetry books. So the one poem that even made me cry was one that wasn't as rhyming as the others. So I think what really takes me out of poetry and out of the emotion of it is the rhyming, is those little bits of like strict creation of a poem. And those things kind of take me out of it. Not that it wasn't a good book of poems. Like I said, one made me cry. It was called Favorite Sweater. But I read it. Okay, and then I read 5 volumes. And then I read 5 volumes of Over the Garden Wall. I'll hold them each up so you can see the cover. So Over the Garden Wall is a mini-series on Cartoon Network. It started as, and then as it got popular, Cartoon Network was like, hey, make a comic. And he was like, okay. Pat McHale was like, sure, I'll create comics for you. Why not? So there were originally other comics that took place in between. So originally there was a comic series that took place between the episodes, and then they decided they were going to do more. So they did these ones. These ones take place after the fact of the miniseries. They're about Greg and Wirt as they go back into the unknown and just kind of little stories about the people we knew there. So in the miniseries, we're going to go back. In the miniseries, it is about 2 brothers, Greg and Wirt, who get lost in a place called the Unknown. It's basically a wooded area that leads into a bunch of towns. So they get lost. They're trying to find their way home. They run into a bunch of weird characters. Things start to happen, like animals talk, and there's creepy magic ladies. So it's scary. It's scary. Is it scary? Yeah, it's pretty scary. I mean, they made it for kids, but you know how kids like the scary stuff these days? The kids, I feel so old. I love that miniseries. I watch it every fall. I go to bed to it. It really, if you like fall, if you like autumn, if you like Halloween, that series really just embodies that feeling. The music, the imagery, it's so fall. It's so lovely. It's beautiful. I loved it. After I watched the miniseries, I got these volumes because I just needed more, and they're absolutely lovely. The drawings are very The drawings are very, very fun and unique. It's very easy to get through these volumes, and then the stories are also interesting. Of course, these volumes don't have the same effect if you haven't watched the Cartoon Network miniseries. Without the miniseries context, a lot is lost. A lot is lost. So I'm not saying that as a way to bring down this series of graphic novels, not at all, because they're worth it and they're lovely. And the miniseries is only 10 episodes, and they're 30-minute episodes. So you can get through that really fast. But you do need the miniseries as context. But once you have that context, beautiful, amazing. And then you're caught up in all of the artwork. Oh, love the artwork. So the animation in the miniseries feels reminiscent of Flapjack and even a little bit of Adventure Time. But this one, it almost changes by the page. It feels not so much to where it's like, ooh, that was a drastic change, but ever so slightly, proportions change just a little bit, and it feels real. Like someone really just, ooh, we took the time and we drew this by hand with love. Loved it. Recommend. I'm talking about this book last because I'm still reading it. I tried very hard to get through it before today, but today is still September. So I'm going to read it and I'm going to finish it today, but I'm going to tell you about it now in my wrap-up. This is Morata by Megan Chance? Megan Chance. Just let's enjoy the cover for a second. Okay? Enjoy the cover. This book is interesting because it is about a few things, and I can't entirely tell what the author. This is a 400-page book. I am 150 pages away from the end, so there is time for the author to really decide what the main point of the book is, but not really. It's always hardest for me to talk about a book that I'm in the middle of reading because I don't want to give away too much, but because I don't know the end and I don't know the purpose for a lot of things, I feel like the only way I can describe the book is with exactly what's happening, spoilers and all. But I don't want to do that because it's a good read. It's a really good read. Okay, first of all, I bought this book because of the beautiful, beautiful little cover. It felt very like, ooh, draw me in. It takes place in Venice. There you go. We're in Venice. Like the 1800s Venice too, so it's beautiful. We're talking about architecture. We're talking about the gross smells all the time. It's real. Like, it doesn't romanticize anything about this time period either. So there are these twins, and they come to Venice, a brother and a sister. And the brother is an artist, and he's trying to make his mark. And the sister is beautiful. I mean, she has so much more to her, but her purpose in the story is to use her beauty. And I feel like there's 150 pages, so we have time for the author to really make the point, but so far, it's just been, I feel like, accidental commentary on women. There's also commentary about, like, sacrifice and fame and what is worth, like, what price is worth paying for immortality. And immortality in the sense of living forever through your art, having your name live on, and what price is worth it. So there's commentary on that. There's commentary on a woman's place, and I don't know if she's done a good job about the woman part. I mean, the art part, yeah, definitely. The commentary about the price people are willing to pay and how insane artists go when their muse is gone. So that's good, but I'm still waiting for the commentary on the women to, like, wrap up nicely in a bow. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Stay tuned for the reading vlog. Maybe we'll find out. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this today. But I want this video to come out today also. So, is that all of my books? That's all the books. Let's get everyone together to say goodbye. Okay, so let's break it down even further. I read 9 novels, 2 books of poetry, 5 volumes of graphic novels. Oh, September was a workout. Whew. So September was a very lovely reading month. I didn't read as many books as I would have liked to in September, but that is okay because every book that I did read in September was part of my already existing TBR. Not a single one of them was new. I take that back. Ray Bearer and You Go Bernadette were new books, but everything else was not. I have had it forever, so tick, 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 right off that TBR. Goal for this year, for the end of this year, is to finish everything on my existing TBR so I can enter the new year with no TBR. It's a goal. is a big goal. I don't know if we'll get there. I really want to. I think I'm just going to keep saying it in every video so that way it manifests. It'll be great. I hope you liked this wrap up. I hope you liked spending time with me today. Today is Wednesday. I'll see you on Friday. Have a great day. Bye!